one of my mentors years ago, maybe you know this name, is Tony Robbins. And one of the quotes really touched me. He said, you know, it's in the moment of decision, your destiny is being shaped. So the decision that you will make today can determine a totally new pathway for you. So a decision of not looking at your phones and scrolling while somebody is speaking, it will give you an opportunity to hear something that you normally would not hear because you're mentally, spiritually, and physically present. Making a decision of maybe exploring a business idea after today will lead you to beautiful opportunities, probably, if you make that step. So my name is Yulia. I am based in Belgium, in Brussels. Our office is in Brussels. And I had a beautiful career, a challenging one as well at the same time. And my intention today is to inspire you, because that was one of my tasks by your team members, saying, Yulia, inspire these amazing girls because they are made for greatness. And our task is maybe be that role model, but an honest one, not the one that only tells the beautiful stories of how it's outside, which is not, and you know that as well, I hope by now. I remember when I was 14, I decided, oh my gosh, I'm born for greatness. My mom laughed and said, yes, girl, you are. And I still believe so. I've got now 2 kids and I'm telling them this similar story. So let me see, I'll share a few slides with you. I did not prepare much because I don't think you really, how would I say, are here to write things down. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. You'll see just a few slides. Well, when I was asked to share with you a topic of sustainability, mindset, and social impact, the first thing that came up to my mind is that sustainability mindset begins with you, begins with clarity of who you are and what you want, and the impact is natural. The social, the positive impact on the society would be natural. So maybe you read or did not read. So I'm a founder of the European Women's Association, which is based in Belgium. And since COVID, we grew very, very fast, meaning we reached out more countries. And in the last year, we've been very active in UAE. If you've heard, there is an expo, global expo happening, Global Expo 2020. I really advise you to Google it up, because you'll see amazing YouTube videos of countries that are all now in Dubai represented. You can learn a lot of different cultures by tapping into that network as well. I've been working with the biggest, I think, brands out there. And since this year, January, we started a beautiful 3 years collaboration with the European Commission, supporting girls and women in business. I will share later our initiatives. You can join our ecosystem. But I think today, my main task is to give you my few lessons that I've learned along the way. And you have plenty time to ask me questions, because I'd love to have it like in two-way conversation. So before we start, let me tell you a story that, as I told you, changed my life without me deciding or realizing that at that moment. So it was November, a cold November night. And I remember looking up, and for the first time in my life, I saw the Milky Way, billions of stars above my head, and it was breathtaking. It was cold and quite lonely. And the only thing I wanted at that moment is to sleep. I was tired. I'm trying to breathe, but I can't. Just want to sleep. Suddenly, I hear a voice right behind me, and that's a voice of Madhu. Madhu is my expedition leader, a local guy from Nepal. He's got almost black eyes, long brown hair, and he's talking to Sergey. Sergey Birshov is an amazing man. He's in his 60s, short guy, white hair, and big blue eyes. And Sergey is saying to Madhu that we should be very careful, that probably Yulia should stay at that base camp. She cannot move further. Sergey is an important man. He's been in the Guinness Book of Records 4 times. I hear their conversation. Madhu is suggesting me to sign a document where I will not be, or they will not be responsible for decisions I will make from that moment. And at this moment, I just want to give up. And suddenly I hear a voice in front of me, a voice I know for many, many years. And he claps in his hand. He said, darling, wake up. Wake up, because you did not come so far to now give up. And I open my eyes, and there he stands, a beautiful, tall man, the same eyes as my son's eyes. And he's saying, darling, we trained for a year. You will not give up. But if you will do, then I'll stand by your side. Suddenly a Sherpa comes, a Sherpa that carries my bag. He takes over and he said, ma'am, I'll take over from now. Sergey comes and stands in front of me and says, Yulia, remember, everything in life is strategy. Climbing that mountain is a strategy. And the only thing you need to do right now is just do not think, and you make steps not bigger than that, than your feet. And that's the tempo, feet by feet, and you'll get there. So ladies, probably you have people in your life who are wiser, who are experienced, who've been there where you are right now. And I would say, listen to their advice. And that's what I did, step by step. And the sun came up. And suddenly I look around, and this picture is literally made at that moment around 6 a.m. in the morning. It was freezing cold. I look around, and it's like I'm another planet. No trees, no animals at that height. And I look up and I see a sign. A sign says Annapurna, 6,540 meters. And suddenly the adrenaline rushes, and I'm finally there. We're making some pictures. We made it to the top. And I start to appreciate the advice you get along the way with people who've been there before. People that support you. In my moment during that expedition, that was my husband, but I'm sure you've got friends that will reach out to you when it's hard, and it's up to you to accept the help. Suddenly, Sergei Bishok stands in front of us and listen, guys, we need to go down. We really need to hurry because there is a storm coming up. I look up in the sky, and the sky is blue and the sun is shining. And I cannot even believe that we've been walking for 2 weeks to get at the peak, and only 5 minutes of pictures, and we need to go down. And he said, listen to me, there is storm coming. Again, listen to people that have been there. Step by step, you should know, going down on the mountain is much more harder than climbing it. On the autopilot, cannot breathe. I think I've got fever. And he says, the view that you will see in a moment will be amazing. Google that later on. We are hiking towards the most beautiful village in the whole world, according to UNESCO. It's called Mustang village in Nepal. And it's a village that's protected. Not many people get there, and it's still as old as 10,000 years. And we come down, and I think I fall asleep. Suddenly I wake up, and I'm sitting in a helicopter. And the helicopter tries to go up. Left from me, my husband is trying to explain what's happening. The two guys in front of us, the pilots, they're explaining that even helicopters need oxygen to rise. It takes us 2-3 minutes. It feels like it takes for hours. And suddenly we are in the air. My ears hurt. I cannot breathe. But when my husband says, darling, look down, I think it was the most beautiful moment of my life, because suddenly Mount Everest is at my feet. And then you would think, like, life sucks. It's been hard, but I would never expect it to have Everest at my feet. It takes almost 2 hours for us to get to Kathmandu, a very busy, small city in Nepal. The doctors come. I get my oxygen mask. Everything happens so fast. I get extra antibiotics. A few days later, the doctor says, you'll be all right. Apparently, I had high altitude disease. When you climb mountains, there is nothing you can do about it. Some people have it, some not. I was not that lucky, I would say, even though I prepared hard the year before. And then I had pneumonia. I got fluids in my lungs, and that explained why I couldn't breathe. But you know what, standing on that hot shower after weeks of climbing the mountains, I think it was a beautiful, beautiful moment, realizing from now on, I will never ever settle for less than amazing. I would not be that stupid anymore and take risks, because I'm a mother as well. I will never go back to my office, a 9-to-5 job as a banker either. I will write a book and make a difference. And the rest was history. I came back to Brussels, wrote a book, it's called Master Your Reality, that led to different keynote speeches and led to beautiful travels, ideas, accelerators called Fab Academy, and European Women Association that I'm running right now. And if I look back, and I'm sure you have these moments as well, or you will have them, but please be mindful about that. There are moments in your life when you want to give up. And the lesson I've learned during that expedition, take help when it's offered, listen to people that have been there, and make a decision based on your gut feeling. There is enough science, girls, out there saying that gut feeling is real, that we have a brain in our guts and we need to listen more to that intuition or whatever you want to call it, because that leads to a meaningful work, project, and life in general. So maybe you already had that little voice in your head saying, oh, you know, if I would be very brave, this is what I would do. So my invitation right now is to write down 1 or 2 things max, an answer to the question of what would you do if you knew you would not fail? What would you do if you knew you would not fail? Don't listen to that inner voice saying, well, that's not realistic, that's too big, that's too small. Just write that down. And it can be different. It doesn't have to be an expedition in the Himalaya. It doesn't have to be to start on your own business. It can be being an amazing mom, friend, daughter. It can be maybe having a degree. Just write that down. If you don't mind, I'd love you to share it in the chat. And I think it's safe enough after so many workshops here. Please share with me, what would you do if you knew you would not fail? Because when you step up and share that with others, you inspire other girls as well to maybe think bigger, to not doubt themselves, to be bolder. Because after 15 years of working with women and girls, I see the same challenge. We do not think big enough. We do not ask enough money when we set up a business. And we are often risk averse. And life happens when you take chances, when you think bigger, and when you fail, by the way, which is amazing to do so. That means at least you tried. So if you don't mind, let me check if I can check the chat. And not many people sharing, I think. Risk with everything, no matter the situation. Well, everything. Well, Elsa's saying, well, I'll do everything if I knew. Well, dear, listen, start with one thing. I would really just, even today, I know it's Saturday, but what would you do? That can be something very small. That can be like, I made a list, by the way, ladies. When I do this kind of sessions with my girls, I often write down like, what would I do? And last time I reached out to a person that I thought they would never respond. And surprisingly, they did. And that led to a beautiful, hopefully, collaboration this year. Or we applied for partnership with Deloitte. And I thought, well, we are not maybe mature enough as an organization. And that led to beautiful initiatives for the next 3 years. Okay, Marita says, go to a performing arts school overseas. Beautiful. If I knew I wouldn't fail, I'd like to more risk and speak up more. Paula, beautiful. I think that's again a beautiful You are one of many girls that I know personally says like, okay, I need to speak up, I need to share. Because once you speak up and share your ideas, is it business, is it personal, you'll be surprised how many people will actually support you. Aina says she would love to go to another country and to do something totally different from what you're doing right now. Become a diplomat, nice. Not in 10 years. Love it. All right. Well, thank you also for those who are sharing it privately. It's okay. You don't have to do it in a group, but please do speak up. I'll share it. I'll read the rest. Please continue writing. I promise you to read. Then at the end, I would say, where does the satisfaction lie? At that age where you're right now, you're looking for yourself, you're looking for meaning, you may be doubting yourself, which is totally okay, and it also will pass. Well, I'm inviting you to write, like make 3 circles right now, like this, okay, 3 circles. And it's just an example of an exercise that you can continue making after this call. So in the first circle, you will write down literally here on the inside your skills. Maybe you're a great listener. Maybe you're a great speaker. Maybe you speak 3 languages or a language that not everyone speaks. Maybe you're great with animals. Maybe you are great at certain sports activity because you thought that you went to workshops or trainings. So write down 3 to 5 different skills you have. Okay. On the other side, on the passion side, you write down things that you're passionate about. I'll give you mine as an example, and then you can add yours. For example, travel. I love traveling. And it doesn't have to be luxurious at all. Backpacking, love it. My husband doesn't, but I love it. It can be dancing. I love to dance. This is my way of meditating during stressful times. For me, passion is also entrepreneurship, new projects, new initiatives, problem solving. That's probably more towards the skill set. So write down your passions. And on the third circle is the money circle. All right. So when we speak about the money, so that's just an example how you can earn money doing something you really, really love. So I'll give an example of mine, how I started a decade ago. I used to be an investment banker, by the way. It's not a very sexy job, but I've learned a lot. After the financial crisis, I decided to make a difference after my Himalaya expedition to do something completely different. And I set up a female accelerator program in Belgium. And I wrote down, I made this exercise like you're doing right now. I wrote down my skills. I'm great with people. I love people. I know how to listen and I can scan people. This is something that I was born with, I think. I can read people's minds. That's how it sometimes feels. At least that's how they feel it. But it's just scanning the body language. I can almost understand and read what their challenges are. So that's something that I was, I think, born with. Certain passions like business, entrepreneurship, travel, and I wanted to get paid for that. So this is how Fab Academy was born. We set up different workshops. We brought that together. We called it Fab Academy. It stands for Femininity and Business for starting entrepreneurs. And we got paid for that. So we sold the program. It was offline, now it's online, but in the past it was only offline. And that led to beautiful opportunities because we could travel and we could duplicate the program. We started in Netherlands, then in London, and now we're doing that in Dubai. So everything that I was passionate about, I could merge into my activities. So my invitation to you, think about how can you get paid for things that you love to do. Maybe you're a great graphic designer. You've got an eye for details and colors. Well, think about how can you sell this talent, this service in an authentic, fun way. You still live home, so you don't need a lot of money to earn, but it's a great exercise to start training entrepreneurship in your spare time. Maybe you're great at math and you know how to share it. Maybe this is, you can have a channel online where you help other kids in math. So please be creative. And even though it does not exist yet, you can always create it. One of other activities I had when I quit my investment banking job, I love dancing, especially Latino belly dancing. That's my thing. And maybe you don't remember, but years ago, to 2008 and 9, Zumba was very popular. So what I've done, I hired a big basketball room, like from the government at school, for €5 an hour. And I could host there 85 people for Zumba sessions. So I had all students coming from the university after school, paying me €5 per hour per person. So I was making like €3,000 per evening per hour in 2008. So this is how I started combining my passion. I didn't have much time because it was just 1 hour a day that I could spare for dancing. I used the marketing that Zumba was giving at that moment, everywhere online, on TV, if you remember. And I just used the logistics that were out there for schools and universities. That's a great experience. So please open up. And if you have already some ideas on how you could make money doing what you love, as an example, again, share in the chat. I'd like to go back to it in a moment. Okay, so that means you have to dare and be more daring. Give you an example of Maria. Maria is my sister. She's 70 years old. She loves singing since she was a kid, but she's too shy and too introvert to really perform. So when she was 15, I gave her a course, a crash course, how to use social media and YouTube and just record few videos together. It was hidden. After a few weeks, I asked, would you like me to open it up? I will share it on my platform with my community. Nobody else will see it. So my ladies loved it, how she sang. And then after a month, she dared to open up. And now she's signed up in Amsterdam. It's a small recording studio. And she, I think, released 7 hits in not much, maybe in 2 years, but still, she's quite popular at this moment with her songs. So this is just a little example. I hope you will make a step today as well. So before we finish up, I don't know how much time I've got because I'd love to go back to your answers. I've got a small video to share with you as a reminder how fast life goes. And to dare to take risks today. Let me see if I can play it like that or no. Okay, I hope you will hear it. I love this one, play more, life is short. It's an old commercial of Xbox. Not sure if Xbox is still around, but it's a good reminder, stop postponing, stop doubting. People don't really care, about your insecurities. And I've learned a lesson that if you step up, much more opportunities will come your way. Don't overthink it. My son is 11 and he always overthinks, and then he thinks so long that at the end he doesn't do anything. So he misses out on so many opportunities. My daughter, she's 4.
She never thinks, that's another problem. But she's got so many beautiful, I mean, friends and activities, and she's quite popular. So I think, depending on your character, challenge yourself to speak up more and be visible, because that will help you in your professional growth for sure. And girls, here is my QR code for LinkedIn. You can always find me on LinkedIn or just drop me a note if you have any questions. And now I'd like to go to your answers. Alice, she's a great sport enthusiast, and she could make money by managing teams. Like that, you see. So this is a first step. For example, you could be reaching out to, sport clubs in your area and saying, hi, I'm here. And if they don't want to pay from the first moment, prove them how amazing you are. All right. Just go there, do 1 hour for free, show the results, and people pay for great results. Okay, group meditations. Nora would love to lead group meditations. I'm a big fan of meditations as well, by the way. I do it daily. I've learned it in Bali. So every year I organize a Bali retreat. Now, with COVID, we didn't do any, almost 2 years. Normally, this is where we teach meditations. What you can do, ladies, is always offer your services in exchange in the beginning. If there is an interesting organization that you would like to be part of, feel free to write them a note and say, listen, I'll do that meditation for free in exchange for certain experience. When I travel, I have a list of photographers, amazing international ones, where I will select from. And in exchange for our delegations, for example, now in UAE, a week of all-in exclusive trip that normally costs 4,500 euros, I get photographers who work for free that week, but they get 4,500 budget to experience the program with us. So I was surprised how many talented girls joined us in exchange for experience and network. Last thing, please, before I end up, the biggest mistake women make, they do not invest time in networks. Invest, please, more of your resources and time to network, to connect to, right people. And by right, I mean those that can lift you up professionally.